Doris Fountain is actually making waves down at Lions camp. Hey. This is a maybe projected 6th, 7th, 8th rung wide receiver. He not only had great mini camps this spring, but training camp, he's making plays on Rakestraw, on Arnold.
Okay.
Big plays, going up and getting 50-50 balls, going and getting deep touchdown passes from Jared Goff. Doris Fountain is coming. And he's getting written up very positively from a lot of the writers and reporters around town. Caden Davis, another wide receiver, he's looking good. Jalen Calhoun, Isaiah Williams. This wide receiver room is deep. It's to the point where they're talking about, is Doris Fountain, is he coming for DPJ's spot?
Stop
job.
It.
Spot.
Ooh, stop
all right, I got it.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. Is he coming to elevate this wide receiver? Not that DPJ takes a step back, but is Fountain or Calhoun, Caden Davis? I love Isaiah Williams.
Yeah.
Might be a little longer till we see him, but is he pushing DPJ down the depth chart, Antoine Green down the depth chart, and is that a good thing?
I mean, if he's pushing DPJ down the depth chart, that's not good for DPJ. And this is somebody that they traded for last year. We didn't really get to see a lot of him, maybe because they just were already in the flow. He wasn't really mixed into what they were trying to do offensively, but he was on the field. So this year you expected him to come into training camp, get more reps with the first team, and actually be a presence out there. But I haven't heard anything about DPJ so far. And if you got isn't he an undrafted guy, Doris Fountain?
DPJ?
No, Doris Fountain.
I believe so.
Yeah,
I'll double check for you. I believe so.
If you got an undrafted guy coming to take your spot and you've been in the league for 4 to 5 years now, that is not a good sign.
And I will say, I can't lie. I'm not going to pretend to say I know a ton about his career. He obviously hasn't logged much, if any, NFL snaps. But in the locker room last year, you see him walk around. You see him on the practice field. He fits. He's as big, if not bigger, than those guys. He's a big body receiver.
Okay.
He's fast. He can jump. He could be one of those, as a receiver, whether it's with the Lions or not, who just comes on late in his career and turns into a pretty productive pro. Who knows? It's just great to see more guys down that depth chart playing well with the 1s and 2s.
Yeah. In case anybody goes down, you got reliable, capable help. So,
and you know what? One thing that we can say about this Detroit Lions organization is, from a talent standpoint, they have everything figured out. When we talk about what the Detroit Pistons were doing, just a contrast to rebuilds, because these things, their rebuilds started kind of at the same time. It started with some being able to kind of identify at least some draft picks, some players that you're like, all right, there's talent there in Cade, Duran, Ivy. There's talent there, Asar Thompson. But what did they do after that? What did they do to develop those young guys? What did they do to develop their second-round picks? We're sitting here right now talking about Marcus Sasser. Who is he going to be? And he was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Whereas the Detroit Lions, not only are their top-line draft picks balling and developing, the next set of players, they're balling and developing. You got players like Broder Martin, who's going out there you know what? I need to transfer my body to compete. And it's this atmosphere of friendly competition. I don't get the sense where it's people are offended that somebody might start in front of them, but that everybody is supporting and trying to push each other to get to the top. And when you see it all the way down the depth chart is when you understand that they have a vice grip on the culture here within the Detroit Lions. That to me is the underpinning layer to having this long-term success.
You couldn't have said it any better. This is a microcosm of why we can be so confident about this team. I'm not going to use this word. Dosa Dion used it last night. I was part of watching his stream. I love Dosa Dion.
Yeah, he's the man.
He brought up the word dynasty, but he prefaced it with not like a 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls in 7 years. Just having a team be consistently a consistent winner at the top of the NFC.
Yeah.
We're talking consistently in the NFC North title competition, consistently at the top of the NFC. They do this, and we see guys like Doris Fountain and these younger guys develop because they're doubling down on the development side. That's why they're not going out and getting the big name free agents or going and making the trades. They're drafting so freaking well that as long as they develop the guys, they trust those guys, they're going to pay the guys who are here. Because by year 4 of their rookie contract, or 5, if we're talking first-round picks, like J-Mo, who's now starting to come into his year 3, we get 2 more years of him. They doubled down on development. The biggest moves this offseason, while they brought in players, is Terrell Williams.
Yeah.
It's Deshae Townsend. It's all of these coaches to take advantage of Brad Holmes' elite weapon in the draft. Doris Fountain, this is just a perfect example.
This is beautiful
they
music right now.
They don't need to go out and get Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
They don't need to go spend draft capital because they can save that. They can pay Aleem McNeil or Aiden Hutchinson, whatever they want when the time comes, and then draft the replacements that everyone thinks Brandon Ayuk should be now to chase a Super Bowl. When you're going to be in the conversation for the next 10 years, you don't need to make 1-year moves. And that's what Brandon Ayuk would be.
You
Let's
make
go.
long-term moves that give you ultimate leverage. Because think about the types of leverage they have in contract situations that are kind of too close to call. Obviously, Amon-Ra, your Panay, your Aiden, you're going to cash out on those guys. But when you're talking about bringing back some of these other players, how good is it do you feel knowing I can go out there and potentially draft your replacement? And who's trying to just run away from this culture just for money? Who's trying to run away from the success that you can have here just for money somewhere else where you're probably not as appreciated, where you're not getting the love from the fans the way that you know you're going to get it from the Detroit fans? We've proven that. We set the records at the draft. You can see everywhere we go on the road, and if you want to come here, I'm sorry, your team, the opponent teams, they have to plan on burning at least 1 or 2 timeouts each half because it's what we do, man, here in Detroit. We get loud. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, what leverage does it give them? How much more of a tool does it give them to know, listen, we are loaded here now. We got people that can step right up. So if you want to walk, you can walk. We're not going to break the bank. We're not going to go above our line. This is a masterclass, man.
All about the work.
Sports organizations in general, the Lions, in my opinion, have gone from worst run to one of the best run in all of sports. Of sports.
Factual. It's all about the work. This is how they identify people. This is why they took Jack Campbell at number 18, because they know they can count on him to be all about the work for the next 5 years. It's going to take 2-3 years for him to really find his own, but they don't have to worry about him being distracted with anything. It's special. It's why Mitchell Agude, he's coming on. Did he come from Notre Dame? I'm blanking on where he came from, but he's been a practice squad player, kind of working his way, getting some more opportunities, and he's had a fantastic spring. Love hearing good things about that. How about this? Carlton Davis, he was back. I think he and Amik Robinson were out. I don't know if it was not passing their conditioning test or something lingering, but they were both back on the field. Carlton Davis playing some on the outside. Amik Robertson, nickel on the inside. I know we spent a lot of time talking about Emmanuel Mosley yesterday, but JB, I kid you not, I couldn't stop thinking about Emmanuel Mosley yesterday. In the sense that this secondary,
Look what y'all started.
I thought this secondary was so much improved, and I was excited, not guaranteeing, but getting into the top 15 defense. Like, that's a huge help. I wasn't even factoring in Emmanuel Mosley into that picture until week 8, 9, really a playoff run. We got all these guys out. We're talking about Fountain and Caden Davis, Jamison Williams. They get to go against Carlton Davis every day in practice. On the second team, it's Enos Rakestraw, CJ Moore. It's stacked. I'm not even naming them all. It's stacked. Pretty cool seeing Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson back. They're 2 huge pieces to this defense.
They got some dogs in that room, man. And it's good when you can have all your guys there at one time. I know we talked a lot about E-Man being out and maybe we wouldn't get him until later on in the season. But the fact that after tearing both ACLs, he's a full participant in training camp, ready to go for the season, man. That is absolutely amazing, man. And like you said, iron sharpens iron. I know we say that a lot, but for the secondary, for the young guys back there, you got to go against a J-Mo and a Amon-Ra every day. And for the other guys on the other side, you're seeing a vet like Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson, man. You got the young dogs, Terrion and Rakestraw. So I'm just really, really excited to see what it's going to look like. Because I know the Lions are going to mix this thing up. There is not going to be a one sole starter every week. Like, I pencil in Carlton Davis. He's the veteran. It makes sense that he would be number 1, but everybody else, though, it's going to be on a matchup-by-matchup basis, man. And they're going to be able to throw so many different lineups at teams. It's going to be hard for these offenses to really keep up or do what they want to do with their game plan. So I'm just looking forward to it,
bro. You know what, man? And it coincides so well with what Dan Campbell was already saying. All the people who were saying, and I'm one of these people, just let James Houston get after the quarterback. Well, Dan Campbell said, well, no, he needs to be ready to play any position, to be able to do and run any play that we could call.
Listen.
We could switch into something else and change our coverage. We could be going out there to disguise something.
They love versatility, man.
Hey, they do. And it's like, you know what? It's cool that they appreciate this one singular trait that he has of getting after the quarterback. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to doubt this coaching staff. I'm just not.
He's on the screen right now.
I
Trent Williams not reported
Not
a training
dealing
camp
with it.
contract. Ayuk not reported
That's
a
what the
training
49ers
camp.
are dealing with camp right
Yes.
now. Our camp at the Detroit Lions right now, like Dan Campbell just has this thing all locked up.
Trent Williams is 3 years into a 6-year contract. This is the Penei Sewell effect. This is Brad Holmes making his way to his top competition out there in San Francisco.
GM wars.
I love seeing it. I'm sure they'll get paid, but it's just the fact that those teams now have to make those moves, have to make these decisions.
Yeah.
They can't keep everybody, and they're not keeping everybody happy.
And we took care of business during the offseason before training camp even started. So you don't have any of this to worry about. Everyone's at camp right now, ready to go and ready to roll into this next season, where you got all these franchises that are now like, all right, are we going to pay him? Who are we going to cut?
Right.
You're making budget cuts. You're making decisions that impact your team that you didn't think about this past season.
Right.
And hey, it's better to get deals done early rather than now, where you got to wait.
I was going to just say, you know what? It's not just that it's happening right now. The players have been in the know that they were going to get taken care of for some time.
Yeah.
Because Amon-Ra talked about it. I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
Jared Goff. He was,
And what do we see?
For a long time.
What do we see, whether it's my notes or anyone else's notes? Offense is firing on all cylinders. Jared Goff looks good. Amon-Ra St. Brown looks good. Jamison Williams is improving.
Yep.
On defense, Hutch is a monster. Alim McNeil looks phenomenal. But we're talking about these guys out on day one performing at their expectation. You know, at I don't want to say midseason form, but it feels different. They're not starting from the beginning right now. There's a clip I've pushed. We've pushed into each show the entire week of Dan Campbell talking about the difference between 2021 training camp and now, and it's completely different. It's special. The last thing I'll say, the Lions had to bring out extra jugs machines after practice yesterday because so many players wanted to get reps after practice,
I love
including DBs like Khalil Dorsey and Steven Gilmore.
I love
Talk
it.
about spreading like
that.
the flu.
I love it.
This is Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, all the workers on the Penei Sewells of the world, Hutches. It's spreading more. It's Corona 2.0. It's spreading around Allen Park, and as fans, you should be so excited. So excited.